In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the recent boutique Blu-rays that I have been enjoying from my collection. It's currently the late summer, and here in England, we're getting a late heat wave. So if I appear like I'm melting throughout the video, I do apologise, but don't worry, the Blu-rays, they won't melt, and that's the important thing. So to kick things off, I want to talk about Radiance. If you've been watching my channel this year, you've seen how much I've been loving some of the great releases from Radiance. These are the most recent releases I've picked up from the label. It's OC and Stiggs and Thieves Like Us. These are two films from Robert Altman, a filmmaker that I love. He has such a deep filmography, so many great films. And these two were recent revelations for me. I think it's fair to say that these are underappreciated Altman films because not a lot of people talk about them, and they hadn't previously had releases here in the UK. But I'm so glad Radiance has shone the light on these because they are a lot of fun, and you can see so much of what makes the filmmaker so brilliant in these two films. OC and Stiggs is kind of this almost a parody of the John Hughes style of teenage coming-of-age movies. These two guys are just hanging out, causing trouble for this family for seemingly no reason. And it's quite bizarre. There's this whole bit with Dennis Hopper and this Vietnam Apocalypse Now style thing. It's very hard to explain. I think it's a great film. And on the Radiance disc, there is this featurette talking about the history of the film and the making of it. Thieves Like Us, on the other hand, I think is more highly regarded than OC and Stiggs, but still one that isn't really talked about as much as, say, Nashville or The Long Goodbye, McCabe and Mrs. Miller. The film stars Keith Carradine as this professional thief, and it's not really all about bank heists. There's not a lot of action in this movie. Some of the promotional material, like the artwork, actually isn't really showing what is in the film. This is more of a romance story with Shelley Duvall's character, and it's more about someone questioning their purpose in life. You know, is he on the right track in life? Should he leave this world behind, settle down and live a good life? The Blu-ray looks great, tons of great special features from Radiance. I'm so happy with these releases, and I can't wait to check out Radiance releases going forward this year because they have some great stuff on the release slate. Something a bit different now, we have Inu Oh. This is an anime film from Masaki Yuasa. This is a limited edition set in this nice hardbound case, and what a very interesting, crazy film. The story follows this blind musician who meets this cursed dancer whose body is all disfigured and he wears this mask, but together they are able to put on these brilliant performances. It's like a concert film in the way that the film shows these performances, and yeah, so interesting. The animation is beautiful. This was a real blind buy for me. I had no idea about this film before I got it, and I am so glad I gave it a shot. Next, I have a really great collector's edition Blu-ray. This is from Umbrella Entertainment in Australia. It's the film Kids from Larry Clark, the controversial movie from the 1990s, which this was the first time I was watching it on this, and it was really shocking in parts. Written by Harmony Korine, and you can see that through and through. I'm still not really sure what I think of this movie. I still haven't fully digested it, but I think for many people this is a very important film from that period in the 90s, a great New York movie. So it's great to see it get this brilliant collector's edition, which inside you get the film in this slipcover, which is very nice indeed. There's also a booklet with some writings on the film, and then interestingly there's actually a piece of one of the films. So this is just a segment cutting of some film reel. So yeah, quite interesting. I don't have one of these in my collection, so yeah, I got a piece of the film here. Moving on, I have the latest release from Eureka Entertainment. I just talked about this in another video fully, so I will not spend too long talking about it, it's the 3 films from Andrzej Żuławski. This was something I was waiting for so long, and I am so happy with this final product. Eureka have done a great job, and I highly anticipate this being on most people's best of the year lists when we get to the end of the year. Going back to Australia now, I have some releases from Imprint Films, which I have been enjoying. This first one, Searching for Bobby Fischer. This is a movie about this young chess player he has this incredible talent at such a young age. He could be the new Bobby Fischer. But the drama here centres around who should be his teacher. Should it be this highly esteemed professional teacher, or should it be one of the guys who just plays chess on the streets, in the park, who may even be homeless, and the parents have to decide, who are they going to go for? Should he be following chess, or should he leave it behind, focus on his school? It's directed by Steve Zaillian, who we know as a very famous writer who has worked with many great directors such as Martin Scorsese. Here with this film, I think his direction is not as good as his writing. And sadly, I think in the hands of someone else, this film may have been elevated even more. It's still a fine film. It's very 90s in parts. And it's something I enjoyed because during the pandemic, I took a renewed interest in chess. So if I can get my hands on any more chess movies, that is something that I am very much enjoying of late. The imprint disc is a 1080p presentation from a 2K scan, and unfortunately it does not look very good. It is highly DNR'd, there is a lot of noise reduction. A lot of the faces in particular look so smooth and waxy. So it's a real disappointment. That kind of stuff will be baked into that scan, so it's not necessarily the fault of imprint. And I have to imagine that current presentation of the film is the reason why some other labels haven't gone and released it yet. Because yes, this is the first time it's on Blu-ray, but I think it really does need some kind of new restoration. So maybe one day we will see that. And moving on to another imprint release, we have one of these very nice film focus sets where they focus on a particular actor. This one is the Jessica Lange film focus set with 4 films that she stars in. You've got Crimes of the Heart, Francis, Music Box, and Losing Isaiah. And over this past weekend, I spent my time watching all 4 of these. All 4 films I had never seen before. They are of varying quality, let's be honest. Some of them are really rather good. Some of them have kind of dated. But Jessica Lange is the focus in this set, and she is brilliant. Some of the performances here really are top notch, and you can see why she was nominated for awards and won awards in the past. If we open this box up like so, you get 4 cases inside. At this point, I'll just focus on 2 of these films that really stood out to me. The first one is Francis. This is a biopic about Frances Farmer, who was an actress in early Hollywood, 1930s. And she underwent some troubles with her mental health. She was institutionalized, and in this film, it's depicting her as having this lobotomy, which is absolutely crazy stuff. It actually came out that after the release of the film, someone who had written a biography about Frances Farmer had made this up about this lobotomy. It was all fiction. So even though this film is kind of depicting real life, at the time it was believed that this actually happened. Now we believe that it didn't. So that's Francis. What I believe is the best film in the set is Music Box, the film from Costa Gavras. In this film, Jessica Lange plays a criminal defense lawyer whose Hungarian father is up for trial as he's believed to be a war criminal from World War II. He's being accused of doing these unspeakable things during the war, and she has to defend him. It's quite a peculiar film in some senses. It's written by Joe Esterhaas, directed by Costa Gavras, as I've said, but this is definitely one of his more Hollywood-style movies. It's not one of his best, but you can see so many great flourishes in this movie from the director. So if I was to recommend one film from the set, it has to be Music Box. Now again, with these 4 films in this Jessica Lange set, they are all 1080p presentations from 2K scans, and they are of varying quality. Some of them do look rather good, some of them less so. Music Box probably is the best looking one out of them all. I think most of these were licensed from Studio Canal, and maybe one day, due to Music Box being directed by such a highly regarded world cinema director, we might see a 4K restoration of this. That would be great. But for now, these 2K scans, these presentations are good enough. And I should mention that all of the films in this set do have special features that go into the making of the film. So that was just a quick look at some of the boutique Blu-rays I have been loving lately. Do let me know your thoughts on any of these discs if you've picked them up, or let me know if you're thinking of picking these up now that you've heard me speak about them. If you want to stick around on the channel, go and watch that review of the new Andrzej Żuławski set. It is great. I highly recommend getting it if you're into world cinema. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.